Hi Monster Hunters, it's Malix, and today we're going to be talking not about monsters, but the humanoids that we play as. I've been thinking about this and about kind of my homebrew world. I alluded to it in my map making video, so I wanted to kind of discuss how I portray the different races or the different humanoids in my homebrew setting. And we're going to start with what most of the time we assume to be the most common humanoid, humans. So humans are the most flexible of all the humanoid race creatures. They get +2 to any stat. They also get an extra skill each level, and they get a bonus feat. So they don't have any class preference, and they're very flexible and they can adapt to any situation. Because of that, I kind of have moved towards I've really played that up. So any of the elemental races like Undyne, Ifrits, Orides, and I can't remember the one, but also Azamars and Tieflings, half-elves and half-orcs, all those come from humans. And this has led to the humanoids in my campaign world to be looked upon with kind of disgust. The disgust is because that they kind of humans can procreate with anything. They don't have any standards. They're kind of seen as the whores of the campaign world. So even though that humans kind of are the most prolific of all the humanoid races, the other races kind of look at them and yeah, of course you're prolific, you have sex with anyone. And then there's this disgust with them, they're less than the other humanoids who can only procreate with their same creature type. So they're looked down by other humanoids, and they're seen as just kind of an amalgam of everything else. They don't have any culture of their own. They steal it from other things. They don't have any skills of their own. They steal it from other things. Oh, that human is really good at blacksmithing. What dwarf did he learn it from? Oh, that human's very good at winemaking. What elf did he make it from? Or learn it from? So there's this disgust and disdain and condescension on humans, because they can learn anything and they're able to procreate with anyone. That being said, let's go into kind of the details of which races have the strongest thing. So let's start with tieflings. So tieflings are evil, outsider touched humans. So sometimes there might be some sort of physical connection between a human and some demon or devil in the past, or sometimes it's a curse that just the kid was born with a strong connection to evil. Maybe the human who was pregnant with the child spent too much time in the 9 hells or the abyss or some other evil aligned plane. But humans, despite everyone else looking upon them with disdain, they hate tieflings. They hate their tiefling offspring because it's just another reason for the other humanoids to hate them. Because the parents will get blamed for bringing this evil into the world. They'll be asked oh, what demon did you have sex with to give birth to this thing? And it just brings so much such spectacle and so much condescension and so many rumors that the humans just don't want to deal with them. So a lot of times these humans are going to hate their tiefling offspring. Now, we should also talk about half-orcs and half-elves, because I include them in the humans because, again, that's part of their lineage. That's the main thing that humans have, is their flexibility, their ability to procreate with any other race. So these half-elves and half-orcs are more human, and they're going to be accepted into human culture more than, well, We're actually getting into the specifics. So, half-elves. Half-elves are rare because the elf grandparents will often kill the human parent and the child for defiling the elf that they had relations with. Even if it was consensual, they's like, no. Elves are rare enough. How dare you poison our bloodline? The elves in my campaign are not nice people. And you don't have to be a drow to be a not nice elf. Just all the elves are not nice people, because I feel like any creature that lives so long is going to have a condescending outlook on all the other races. But half-orc families, on the other hand, those ones tend to be very loving. I feel like human and orcs actually get along pretty well. Because orcs are used to also be considering outsiders, being used as a slave because of their high strength score and dull wit. Orcs are used to being looked down upon, looked as lesser. So humans and orcs are able to bond over that, and so like the half-orc child that comes from that actually is in a home that is very supportive and wants to do their best to kind of help them achieve whatever goals they have, and they understand the pain that the child's going through, and they're very good parents. And mentioned before, the humans take on aspects of the elementals, so if they spend a lot of time on the earth plane, there's a good chance that if they have a child, it might be an Oread. So all these elemental races come from humans, just who have had too much exposure to whatever elemental energies. Now, there is one race of humanoids, and I say race very loosely. They're not races, they're different species, that actually does enjoy the company of humans. Kobolds. Kobolds like humans. Kobolds see humans very fondly because they think about the dragons that they worship. And dragons are also one of those creatures that can procreate with any type of creature. So the kobolds don't see the ability to procreate with other creatures as a bad thing. They see it as a normal thing, something that is like a gift. So kobolds think that humans have some connection to dragons. And thus, humans and kobolds tend to be really good friends. If they're mining, kobolds make great miners. Humans can also make great miners. There's often little packs of kobolds and humans mining in the most dangerous parts of whatever cave, while the dwarves mine in the safer parts. That's kind of how these races are looked in my campaign. Another reason that humans are hated is, like I mentioned before, all the creatures live the same lifespan in my campaign world. I do this for gameplay wise because it makes it easier to have history that's been forgotten if everyone only lives to be only 90 years old. A lot of like the more long-lived races, such as elves and dwarves, hate humans that they were chosen as the standard of how long humanoids should live, and now they have to live as long as them. So they look at them with disdain, which also kind of aids into why orcs like humans, because orcs get to live longer. Their body doesn't die out so fast because now they live as long as humans. So, and that gives them hope. So they kind of are more on equal footing. As a player, if you were to choose to be human in my campaign, and which most people don't, honestly, because they want to be all these different races with all these other powers, because the ability to choose doesn't seem super appealing, and I think a lot of people do get choice paralysis, being able to choose a bonus feat at the first level and an extra skill. But I always think human fighter is the best way to go. Pathfinder has so many feats, every odd level, so it just gives you the bonus is not as big as it was in 3.5, but it is very good to get you to that extra step of what you want to get to Great Cleave or Whirlwind Attack or Spring Attack. So human fighters are probably one of the most common things. Also because fighters, they are just pretty easy to come across in the world. Like everyone needs, in a world where there's tons of danger, everyone needs a fighter to protect them. I always feel that barbarians are more of a cultural thing, and less of a job. So that's why I feel like fighters are more common than barbarians. I know humans can do anything. But the other thing that humans are super common at being is rogues and probably sorcerers. Sorcerers because they have bloodlines, and because humans are known for being able to procreate with everything. That's probably what's going to give them the magic. They're introduced to all sorts of magic. Their body naturally takes on the elemental energies of different planes. So in my campaign, they're most likely going to be sorcerers. And rogues, just because they have that flexibility, they learn things very quickly, so they make really great skill users. And I think the last one that I would say is ranger. Ranger is kind of that in between fighter and rogue. And considering a lot of humans are looked down upon in like society and cultures, it would make sense that they would want to go outside and be away from civilization. But then you could also use that argument for druid as well. So right now we have fighter, rogue, druid, ranger, sorcerer. Let's try to bring that down to like what I think is the most one. So obviously fighter. People are going to be willing to throw them out to the front lines because they look down on them. Probably sorcerer, because they're just going to have so much magical energy just kind of poured into them. And because humans are so sociable and so procreative, I don't think that they're going to want to be alone in the forest the same way a druid would be, or a ranger would be. So probably sorcerer, fighter, sorcerer, rogue. Rogues because they're often looked down upon, so they often have to do other means. If it's not strong and you don't have natural abilities, you're probably going to be a rogue as a human. So those are my top 3 picks for humans in my campaign world. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing my perspective in my homebrew of what humans are in Cornucopia. The Tarrasque is back. So please leave a comment down below if you want me to talk about a different humanoid race and how they take a look in my campaign world. And I will see you guys next time. Keep rolling.